First of all, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem at all.
So, I want to talk to you first of all. I want to go back right to the beginning. Obviously, you were on Family Buddy Clan. It was on TLC channel. Now, when you first did that show, did they approach you for the show, or did you have to apply for it? Did you have to go to them?
No, a friend of mine, named Amanda, oddly enough, was like, "There's an opportunity to be on a show. I have a friend of a friend who has this opportunity. Would you be interested?" And I said yes. She got me in touch with that friend, and then that friend got me in touch with that friend, and that's how I got on the show. Yeah, sorry, I'm putting on socks, so it's like.
No, it's all right. Okay, so obviously from the start of the program up until today, how much in total weight did you lose? And this is including from exercise and dieting, and also surgically removed as well. How much weight have you lost completely since the start of the show?
Since the show I started, the highest weight I was at was 711.
Yeah.
Previously, a couple of years before that, I was up to 845, but or like 840. But if you just start with the show, I was at 711 pounds, and right now I'm at like 291, maybe 292. So
Yeah.
that's 500. No, that's not 500. Is it 500? No, it's 418 pounds, something like that, 419 pounds.
Wow, Jesus. Well, you look really good. I've been obviously doing the research, and you've been watching the show. You look absolutely incredible. So congratulations to you for losing all that weight. What I want to know is obviously, no worries, man. What I want to know is, especially me, I have it myself. When I try and lose a bit of weight, I find it hard to get motivated. I find it hard to, and I think it's the same with everyone. It's always like a New Year's resolution. You know, oh, let's lose some weight, and then it never ends up happening. What motivated you to stay on track for so long and to get rid of all the weight? What was it for you that drove you to be able to do that every day?
So from the show, I mean, it's really like a multitude of answers, honestly. Like, no one wants to live the life that I was living. No one just wants to be a waste of space and like not a productive member of society, and like, you know, just basically a burden on your family. No one wants to do that. But that's the situation I was in, and I had basically come to terms with living that way. But you know, my nephew was born. I had never been an uncle until then, and he's now, I think, 9 or 8, something like that. And it was rough for him being such a baby, and like, in my head, I knew things like, well, we're never going to do half the things that like an uncle and a nephew should do. Like, I'm not going to play catch with him. The most I can do is play video games with him. And like, you know, we'll share that hobby, but that's it. I won't take him places by myself. We'll never go to a baseball game. We'll never go to the zoo. We'll never go to like the pool and swim. We'll never go to an arcade. We'll just do what I'm able to do. And so it was that, him being born. I don't want to necessarily die alone. I don't want to live a life where I don't have my own kids and a wife. I don't want to leave behind the legacy of doing nothing. Like, I don't want it to just be, hey, Casey lived and then he died. And a lot of those, you know, things culminating to, like, into one just big idea of, hey, this is not fun. This is not okay. I'm not happy with this life, so I should change it. But I know fully that I would have never been able to get this far, or do the things that I've done as far as like losing weight without the surgery. It got way too past a point of, hey, just go outside and take a walk. It was, food ran my life much more than I want to admit. And I was okay with that. It was a hobby. It was something that should have never been a hobby, but had become a hobby, and it had consumed my life. Like, I liked eating, and it was great. The surgery put a big halt on what I was able to consume. And that's what basically pushed, you know, the weight loss forward completely.
Yeah. Yeah. So my next question kind of ties in with that. So what I was going to ask was, obviously losing a dramatic amount of weight in a very fast time, did that have an effect on your body when you first came out of surgery, when you were first starting to walk around more and your body's had this dramatic weight loss?
Nothing like bad. I mean, there were, I guess there was just moments of more like testing your limits on what you're able to do. Like, because I mean, right now I'm 290 pounds. There's probably a lot of things that a 290-pound guy can do that I can't, like, as far as I can somewhat run, but I have a lot of skin that moves. And like, I get winded pretty quickly. I mean, I could walk a good distance, but running or anything that exerts an extreme amount of force, like quickly, like going up steps or something, it takes a lot out of me pretty quickly. So it was just really that, like learning what I can and can't do. For a long point in my life, there are very simple things that a person can do that I couldn't do. Uh, Stand on your tippy toes, put one leg in the air, and stand on it. I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't jump. I physically couldn't jump. And then it's like you get to these points where you're losing weight and you're like, little things that you never thought about all of a sudden hit you. And you're like, I haven't done this in like 6 years. I haven't jumped. I haven't put my foot in the air and stood on one leg. I haven't stood on my tippy toes. Really weird stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, I can probably do that now. And these are very small things that aren't like an accomplishment to anyone, but I wasn't able to do them for like a good 9 years. And really just that, like, there's nothing that like, I mean, there's a little bit of like a mental issue I still have. Like I still have some really weird like body dysmorphia, depression, not liking myself, like kind of like personal thoughts. I have a bad self-image of myself, but which I kind of play down. But like if you really get to know me and talk to me, it's pretty apparent. But other than that, I mean, no, there's just been positivity from the weight loss. There's nothing that I've really like. I have no joint issues, any kind of issues like that with my body. Everything's pretty good.
Yeah, and what were you saying about the body dysmorphia? That was literally my next question because I know a lot of people, especially like even bodybuilders who are absolutely jacked and they're ripped and they're still very unhappy with the way they look. And I think there's a problem with especially generation that we're in. Body consciousness and body dysmorphia is a massive thing that not many people talk about. So as you just explained, you still don't feel like you look in. I mean, even though you look amazing, you still don't feel like you're ever good enough. So mentally, what has the weight loss done for you? Because obviously on the program, especially at the beginning, the first couple of episodes, they tried to make you come across as this sort of moody, not caring sort of person. After 5 minutes of talking to you, obviously I can tell that's generally not the case. But mentally, has it lifted your spirits in one way? But then also, no matter how much weight you've lost, obviously with the body dysmorphia thing, you're always still going to have that because you're at the size that you were.
So it's weird because like you live in a world you create, but then there's reality. So like for a long time, all my clothes were 4X, 5X, I mean 8X. I was wearing 8X shirts. My pants no longer had numbers; they just had X's. 4X, 5X. And now this hoodie's a double XL. I wear shirts that are double XL. Sometimes they're a little more tight than I want them to be, but for the most part, I wear a double XL. I wear a size 42 pants. The jeans I have on now are kind of stretchy, but like I can wear 42s, probably even a 40. And that's great. Like that's real life stuff. Like that's real and it's tangible. It feels good. But there are times where like when I'm not wearing clothes and I see like the skin or my stomach and the bulge and just like you just don't feel like it's real. You don't feel like you accomplished it. And a lot of people message me and they want answers, they want advice. And I try to tell them, hey, like, I can't give you a ton of advice. I can't give you some secret to losing weight because I got a surgery that kind of helped. But it's always like I see the progress. I see that I've done well. And I used to be a person that hated pictures. I was very uncomfortable taking them. And that's one of the weird things is like, it's not weird, but it's difficult for me to like do so many posts where it's like Transformation Tuesday, Flashback Friday, because I don't have a ton of pictures that I haven't already used or that weren't on the show because I didn't like taking a lot of pictures. I hated it. I hated the way I looked. It made me uncomfortable. Whereas now I try to pose. I mean, I like taking pictures. So it's when I say I do it, it's something you create. Like obviously it's something you create, but like I have things that physically show me that I've lost. What happens or you get a bad image of yourself for a second, you then just kind of throw away everything that's true. You completely forget where you came from and you're like, just hate myself. Like, it just sucks.
Yeah, no, 100%. I want to go back to the show again. Now, I know it seemed a bit out of order for what they did, because I feel like the show, what they did, same as people on YouTube sort of clickbait videos and stuff. I think what they did, they tried to show a bad relationship between you and your parents, but I think they focused on it a bit too much to try and cause drama in the program, which obviously I know is going to get views and stuff. But I thought it was a bit out of order in the way they did that. What I want to know is, since the whole program's finished and obviously you've lost all this weight, has it affected the relationship with your parents? Are you getting along better with your father and your mum?
So my parents have always loved me. They've taken care of me for way too long in my life. My dad still pretty much takes care of me. My mother just helps me out in being like an adult, really, because I don't know anything about, having insurance, paying bills, or anything like that. So she's helping me, whereas I still live with my dad or whatever. But I mean, I said, man, I'm sorry, if you can hear this washing machine in the background, I'm so sorry. It's truly bothering me so much.
I can't hear it, so honestly, it's fine. I don't
Thank
mind.
God, because I can hear it like it's right beside me. So, sorry. So like I've always had a good relationship. Like my parents love me and I love them. But when you're in a small house like we are in, and you see a person specifically every single day, multiple parts of the day, they do everything for you. You become completely relying on them, and you basically, they're like a part of you. So it's, and I want to be clear about this, because I don't think I fully like expressed it ever. It was as if my father had become completely a part of me, and when I was, and I say this word not lightly, when I was yelling at him or complaining to him or bitching to him about stuff, it was like I was yelling at myself, because
Yeah.
it was like, it was, and I know people aren't going to fully understand it, but it's as if, like, say you had like, bad arthritis or a bad leg or something, and you were like, come on, man, you couldn't stand up for a minute. You're like, get up. Like, you're literally shaking your leg because you want it to work right. And my father had become like a part of me. He had become literally a person that did everything for me as if it was me. So when I would get frustrated with him, it was like I was frustrated with myself, and I was yelling, like, why don't you understand? Why don't you get that? Like, I need this now, and it's very important. When in reality, it wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't need food right then. I was just impatient. I was a baby. So in the show, I don't fully think I ever expressed or made that clear, because they haven't done really anything after. They just put out what they put out, and they haven't done an update or whatever,
Yeah.
which is fine for them, I guess. But people have a right to be upset with how I spoke to my father. They have a right to be annoyed and angry with me, but they just always completely put it on me being a shitty person. And don't ever, I think, I'm sorry if I cursed a little too much for this, but I don't think
No,
they
it's
ever
okay.
get the understanding of, like, he was in a really bad situation. I'm not excusing what he did, but I can sort of understand where he's coming from the things he says and he does. I'm not forgiving it, but I can sort of understand where he's coming from. I don't think a lot of people do that. So things have gotten a lot better with my father, and I mean, my mother was never really bad. Apparently, some people have a opinion that she was a bad person on the show, or she was a negative person or a bully. She's nothing like that. The show is meant to make you feel certain ways about certain people. My mother's a
Yeah.
fantastic person. She's very sweet and kind. She's always helped me out when I've needed it. She's always been there for me. People, said stuff like, why did she kick you out for being overweight? She didn't. She kicked me out because I couldn't find a job. But on the show, it is said that way because the show,
Mm.
let me explain something. The show's edited. The timing on the show is completely wrong. There are scenes of the show that were filmed after the surgery for all of us, whereas you wouldn't even know we had surgery because it's not said. The scene at my mom's house at the pool, we had all had surgery, and they say that I haven't, but I had already had surgery. The timing is very messed up. There are suggested conversations. It's a reality show. It's not a documentary about like World War II. So it shouldn't be
Yeah.
taken as fact in every single way. Yes, we were all overweight. Yes, it was detrimental to our lives. Yes, the surgery saved us, but we're not exactly the people we were painted to be. I I would say more so myself than any of them. Amy and Amanda don't really have a negative thing about them on the show. I would think that I'm definitely the person you were meant to dislike. So yeah.
No, I feel like I felt that when I was going through the series and I watched it. I definitely felt that.
Oh yeah.
Especially the thing with your mum. I can't see your mother being a bad person. The only thing I disagreed with is when she used I think she said something like she blamed the gaming, and I'm a gamer, man, so I took that to heart.
I mean,
You
listen,
know,
I still to this day would have that argument that like gaming wasn't the reason I was overweight. It
yeah,
was another thing that kind of kept me sitting down. But I mean, I don't game at all anymore. I play a couple games on my phone. I'll get on the Xbox every once in a while. I just got some games for my PS4 for Christmas. I haven't even hooked that up, but they were very cheap and I wanted them. Um, but I don't blame gaming, and maybe it's just like I definitely think it was a thing that kept me sitting down and kept me
yeah,
from being inactive. But like even after the surgery, I played video games and like I was still losing weight. So I do believe that the gaming wasn't an issue so much as it was just a hobby that I could still do and be a part of with the weight. I may have done it too much. I won't deny that. But it wasn't a thing that made me overweight or kept me overweight because I gamed all through the show and after the
yeah.
show, losing weight. I don't do it now because I try to be gone as much as possible and try to be active. Um, but I don't think it was. And it was just a thing where like my parents were they're not in touch with like the times. They don't know anything about like current stuff. Like my mom is still confused how I have friends in Malaysia or Australia and I've never met them. She's like, how can you be friends with someone you've never met? Well, because I played a video game with them for 4 years and I know their kids' names. I know their favorite color. I know what they do
Yeah.
for a living. They know who I am. I've never been to Wisconsin, but I was very good friends. I mean, I'm still good friends, but we just don't talk because I don't game. But that guy Nanners, Avery, I still talk. Penny, I'm going to a cabin with her in Colorado in a couple of weeks. I've only met her one time, but I've played a couple of games with her for like 4 years.
Yeah, no, exactly. I completely agree. I have the same sort of relationships. I got people in Holland and stuff that I know from the Xbox, and I feel like I know them as in their side of my
Yeah.
friendship group. You know, I completely understand that. Now, I've got two more questions for you because I know you're a busy man. The first one that I'm going to ask you is after the show, and I mean, I know you've started a YouTube channel. You've just hit 20,000 subscribers, haven't you? Very recently. How does it make you feel? You got such a big following now on social media. Did you expect that at all when you did the program?
So it's kind of like always the dream, I guess you would say. Like the first priority of the show was get the surgery, lose weight, change your life, become a healthy person. But there is this thing in the back of your mind that's like TLC's a big network. Um, this could pop off into something like big. Like you could really
Yeah,
get something going. Like there's full. This is real, like a real thought that I had. If I had just not lost weight and I had been a little more negative, and this is a terrible thing to know, but it is a fact. If I had not lost weight, been a more shitty person, and just kind of caused some more drama, I would have a much bigger following. You can look at the other two girls that are on a season right now, the Slayton sisters. One of them, I've only seen one of their channels because when I look up Amy, the girl that my cousin on the show, when I look her up, the Slayton girl pops up. She has 66,000 followers on Instagram. I'm barely just now at I think 14.3, but they had some other stuff before that. They had a YouTube channel and other stuff that was slightly popular. Their whole thing is controversy. Their whole thing is, it's much more of a freak show. And I don't mean that as in like because they're big. I mean that because like they say a lot of things, they do a lot of things for the camera
yeah,
that most likely TLC is probably telling them they should do, encouraging it and stuff, but it's working for them and I don't blame them. But if I was a much more negative person and I hadn't lost weight, I would have probably been invited back for another season, and they would want to do more with me. But success isn't something people like initial success and then they just don't care. Like,
yeah,
hey, they have so many videos of like soldiers coming home and they're like, oh my God, he's home. Yes. No one cares about anything after that. You never see the next day. You never see a follow-up. But if you see someone that's like, oh my God, he came home and he's missing a leg. Let's see what is happening now. Everyone likes a controversy, a struggle, a kind of thing like that. Like that's what they want to see. They don't really care how you're doing after you've succeeded. And that's just a fact. So, but like, it is cool that I have all these followers on Instagram, and my YouTube has 20,000 subscribers, 21.2 now. But it's pretty cool. And it is always something in the back of your mind that you kind of think like it could happen. Do I think I could have done more on my YouTube and my Instagram to have a bigger following? Yeah, but like, it's not anything to where like my YouTube isn't even monetized. I plan on doing that because it would be nice to get a check every once in a while. Right now it's not. And it's always something you would like. Don't look at your watch like that. But it's something that like you always kind of dream could happen, but you don't know if it could, and you don't really like plan on it. But it would be nice to make money and be like semi quasi famous from all this. It would be pretty cool. But
yeah,
there
definitely.
are people that message me, and then like because I reply to a lot of messages like yours. Like I reply like I reply to a lot of them. Some of them I don't because they're just weird. But and people actually like genuinely freak out. Like I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise. If I messaged him, I'd lose my mind. I've had real interactions where people are really like, I use this word lightly, but starstruck that I respond. And I'm like, you realize that I'm like nobody, right? Like I'm just a normal person. I work in a Home Depot warehouse. I drive my father's truck. I don't do anything special. But they're like, oh my God, you're responding to my messages. I can't. And I'm like, I'm a nobody. I'm no one. Nobody. I don't even own a bidet. And I feel like a lot of famous people have a bidet. A bidet? You know what a bidet is. Okay. But yeah, I'm normal. I'm really nobody. I haven't got YouTube doesn't message me. Instagram doesn't. I get the fake, do you want to collab comments. I don't get like real deals from anyone or anything. I'm a normal person that is very, very plain. I'm just funny. That's it.
That's not a bad thing. That's definitely not a bad thing.
Right. I agree.
Casey, listen, thank you very much for coming on today. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully we can do another video in the future. And I know you're a busy man. Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it. First of all, thank you for the honesty. Thank you for the honesty and your answers. I really do appreciate that. And hopefully we can have you on again another time.
Oh, definitely.
That's great. Casey, thank you very much. See you later.
All right, man. Take it easy. Later.